Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The News.
Good evening, America, and welcome to Junk in the News, presented by Rip It Energy. Super excited for the news segment tonight. Some really cool stories to share with you. First and foremost, in Huntly, New Zealand, a family emergency experienced by the staff at a very popular local restaurant caused the staff to abandon the restaurant mid-service. Only one person remained, the cook, right? So just imagine, if you will, that you're the chef in a restaurant. You're very proud of the food that you create, the atmosphere and environment that you're able to bring to your customers. And then one fateful day, something happens and your entire staff has to leave. There's no one to take orders. There's no one to serve. There's no one to run the register. What are we going to do? This is a disaster, my friends. But the power of human goodness prevails. Customers, of their own accord, jumped in and started helping run the restaurant. What? Yeah, no kidding. So first, a customer grabbed some paper, jumped up and started taking orders, taking them back to the kitchen and giving them to the chef, then running orders out to other customers. Crazy. Another customer jumped up and started washing dishes. Talk about a moment of humility. I'm just here to get some food. I'm a paying customer, but I see you're in a state of crisis. That's not your fault. I'm going to jump in and help out. Let me wash the dishes. How cool is that? Employees from a neighboring shop jumped in and started running the register. They talked to the chef and they're like, hey, we can run the till. We understand your POS system. Like, let's do it, right? So for a couple hours, people just kept helping and getting things done in this restaurant so they could keep serving and that chef could keep working. How freaking cool is that? I think about our society sometimes, and we have this perspective that if things aren't done the way we want them to be, I'm a paying customer and I want it this way, and I don't really care what the reasons or excuses are that you can't provide me the service that your business is supposed to provide. So I'm going to be mad, I'm going to yell at you, and then I'm going to get on Yelp and, all the other review sites, and I'm going to absolutely trash you. I think that's the wrong answer. I think the right answer is to ask that question, what can I do to help you through this situation that you're in? Super, super cool. Now, friends, I love to cook, but there will not be a day that I'm going to jump back and help somebody cook in their restaurant because, there's food safety laws and all kinds of stuff like that. And my cooking style is very on the spicy side, and I don't know that people would be very happy with that. But, I think I would like to think that I'm the person who would be willing to be like, hey man, let me wash the dishes. Let me help out in some way. I think that's really, really cool. Very commendable for all those people that helped out. Interestingly enough, the restaurant received 0 complaints through that crisis. 0. Really, really cool. Now the staff has dealt with their family emergency. They're back. Everything running just fine. But what a cool moment for that restaurant and for that chef. Really, really interesting stuff. I think about that act of rebuilding society. Let's take a look at a nation that's rebuilding nature. My friends, the nation of Singapore has committed to planting 1 million trees to repopulate mangrove forests in their nation. Now, the nation of Singapore has become an economic juggernaut over the last 10 years. They've industrialized, they've brought in a ton of outside currency to revitalize their economy, and they're a big deal on the world stage in terms of production, technology, all kinds of stuff. Really, really cool what they've done for their nation. But as their country has urbanized, they've had some deforestation involved as they've had to expand their population centers. Well, seeing that and knowing that this is a crisis that cannot stand, the nation of Singapore has committed to planting over 1 million trees. In addition to that effort, they have also committed to being able to provide a park within a 10-minute walk to every single one of their citizens. Really, really cool. So they're going to be planting mangrove trees, which in the United States, we have 3, I think, species of mangrove trees. It's 3 or 5. Well, there are over 35 species of mangrove in Singapore, and some of those are endangered. So doing this will revitalize, those populations as well and keep those species alive. But there's an even bigger effect. There are a lot of animals that take their homes in habitats, primarily built up by mangrove trees. So there are saltwater crocodiles, there are smooth-coated otters, various birds and reptiles that take home in and around mangrove forests. So this will not only revitalize the mangrove species, but will help provide those homes and safe harbor for all of those other species as well. Okay, so the National Park Service in Singapore is heading up this project to regreen their cities. Okay, the goal will be to make sure that they can get this done in 10 years. Now, 10 years seems long. 2030 seems a far away period of time. But a lot of reforesting efforts in the world today have been hampered by overly aggressive, unrealistic timeframes. So they're giving themselves a realistic period of time to work through this project and to replant, regrow all of these trees. Okay, so they're also working with tree nurseries to get this done correctly. And as of today, those tree nurseries have been able to grow 51,819 trees to be part of this reforesting effort. So really, really cool stuff. This is going to take a lot of different forms. It's not just going to be coastal forests like you see in the image on your screen. They're also sponsoring rooftop gardens. Let's see, urban efforts all over the place involving curbside vegetation. They're also introducing therapy parks, which are, forested areas where people can go through to relax and relieve mental stress and stuff like that. So really, really cool effort. I think about the moments in time when I'm the happiest and I feel the most content, and it's when I'm surrounded by nature. The green foliage and the trees, and even my property where I live is essentially forest. I mean, there's a ton of trees, and we don't have like a beautiful lawn, but what I have is nature and vegetation and animals all around, and I absolutely love that, and that's what I feel the most mentally strong. And so this idea of creating these therapy parks and rooftop gardens and all of these things while they're reforesting their country, amazing. Mangrove trees, incidentally, are by far the most environmentally important trees, considering they clean more CO2 out of the air than any other tree on the planet. So very excited to see a country grabbing onto this initiative and moving forward. Some of you might think of celebrating an effort like this where, sparklers and glitter and so on and so forth. I'm with you. Let me introduce you to a person who can help you with that celebration. The young girl that you're seeing on screen, her name is Jordan Reeves. She is currently 14 years old. Now, Jordan was born with a rare condition where essentially her left elbow never developed. So her arm never developed past that left elbow. Some people would consider this a disability, but Jordan Reeves says, nay, I'm not disabled. I'm a genius. So she started inventing her own prosthetic attachments around 10 years old, and her current really cool invention is an attachment for her arm that shoots glitter. Yep, I know some fans out there are going to get really excited about this. She built an attachment for her arm that shoots glitter. She's basically turned herself into a real-world superhero that uses glitter. That's amazing, okay? So, really, really cool young woman. She has also, at 14 years old, founded her own nonprofit called Born Just Right, where she seeks to help people born with disabilities see that they're not hindrances, but rather gifts to her life, okay? And helping other people view in a positive light and advocating for acceptance and inclusivity in society. So really, really cool stuff. She has been featured on the TEDx stage, very, very cool, Shark Tank, and the Rachel Ray Show. Very, very cool stuff. As you can see in the image on your screen, super confident young woman, very creative, got a ton of really awesome ideas, and I'm sure we will continue to see big things come from Jordan Reeves in the future. Along that celebration vein, I think it's time that we celebrate our northern neighbors, the proud nation of Canada. My friends, the nation of Canada has signed into law a groundbreaking initiative. As of this week, Canada has signed into law a ban on single-use plastics that will go into effect next year. Okay? So they signed it into law. It'll go into effect next year because retailers and businesses need time to get, better sourced products to replace those. Okay. So currently, the nation of Canada throws away 3 million tons of plastic waste, and less than 9% of that is recycled. That's a big problem. It doesn't really matter whether you're in on the green initiatives or you are concerned with plastic waste for the environment, but just consider the amount of money that's wasted by creating, selling, producing these items that are meant to be used once and then thrown away. Also consider the amount of money necessary to fund disposal, landfills, and all of those things to house these 3 million tons annually of plastic waste. So even if you can't get behind it for the environmental reasons, get behind it for the savings, for the fiscal intelligence reasons behind this, okay? So this ban is part of a larger project that Canada is undergoing where they intend to eliminate plastic waste entirely by 2030. Okay, there are a lot of pieces that go along with that. This single-use plastic ban, the first part of that. Specific products that are eliminated in this law are bags, right? So shopping bags like you see on your screen, which are a huge detriment to society. The wind picks them up and blows them everywhere. They get into trees, power lines, animals eat them, choke on them, all kinds of terribleness caused by plastic shopping bags. They're eliminating plastic straws, stir sticks, the soda six-pack rings, which even when I was a kid, we knew those things were like terrible for the environment. I don't know why we still have them. Like, there are better alternatives out there. Anyway, plastic cutlery and various other foodware, including like those styrofoam to-go containers, because those products, they seem flimsy and like cheap to us, and so like if you don't really know a lot about it, you're like, it's not that big a deal. They are incredibly hard to recycle, and they are just nasty to manufacture in terms of pollutant production and stuff like that. So eliminating those 6 products effective next year. Also part of that bigger project to eliminate plastic waste entirely by 2030. That goes along with a huge investment on behalf of the nation of Canada in plastic reclamation and recycling efforts. And also, this has already prompted job growth and economic development in the sector in Canada. So really big deal in terms of they're not just taking stuff away. And sometimes we think about like bag bans and stuff like that, and we're like, they're taking our stuff away. But it's bigger than that. It's investment, it's job creation, it's research and development, it's creating economic gains in a big sector. Recycling is one of those things that I think intuitively most human beings are like, yeah, recycling is good, we should recycle. But the nation of Canada taking it one step further and saying, okay, yeah, we should recycle, we're going to, and we're going to make it happen in a responsible, realistic way. And here's the money and the jobs and the infrastructure to go figure out how to make that happen. So really, really big deal. Also, interestingly enough, sometimes in the United States, when the federal government passes a law, we see states that are like, no, I don't want that, I don't agree with that, we don't like that, right? That happens a lot in the States. This law in Canada has been agreed to by every single federal territory, every provincial government, and all of the smaller territorial governments as well. Okay, so all of the government sectors in Canada have agreed to this law. So this is not just like the Canadian, Fed ramming this down people's throats like sometimes happens. This is a big deal. Like, the whole country is behind this effort, and I'm just super, super excited to see that. Those single-use plastics are gnarly. Like, they do really bad things to the environment because they're small and they're notoriously hard to reclaim and control and, recycle and process. So really, really cool. Yeah. I like Canada. I've only been to Canada once. I enjoyed the experience. I have friends that live in Canada. It's a cool country. They do a lot of really smart things up there. So, yeah. Good job, guys. Eh? Ladies and gentlemen, that is all for Junk in the News. Stick around for more of Jack's Junkyard after these messages. The Fists of Arkan is the debut novel by author Jack Kiesling. Action, adventure, and personal challenges are the focal point of this immersive book set against a backdrop of war. Deep character development and wide perspectives explore social issues relevant to the real world. Dive in and discover the answer to the age-old question faced by leaders many. What kind of royal will you be? This is a paid advertisement for Jack Kiesling Books and the Fist of Arkan.